Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into the topic of depression. Now, this is more than just feeling down. It's a very real and serious medical condition. But, and this is the most important part, it's also absolutely treatable. So let's explore what that really means together. This quote from Help Guide, wow, it really hits home, doesn't it? It shows that depression isn't this one-size-fits-all thing. For some, it's a crushing weight. For others, it's nothing at all. Just a profound emptiness. Getting that is really the first step to understanding. Okay, so here's the key thing we need to get straight. We're talking about what doctors call major depressive disorder. And the crucial word here is disorder. These aren't feelings that just pass in a day or two. They stick around and they get in the way of everything. How you work, how you sleep, even how you eat. It truly disrupts the entire rhythm of your life. So, to really get a handle on this, here's our game plan. We're going to start with what depression is and how to spot the signs. Then we'll get into the causes. And finally, we'll shift to the most hopeful part, the pathways to recovery and how you can find real help. All right, let's jump right in with recognizing the signs. Because it's so important to know that depression shows up in all sorts of ways, affecting not just our feelings, but our bodies and our actions too. Now, this list is incredibly revealing because it shows how depression can hide in plain sight. It's not always about crying or feeling hopeless. It can look like a short temper or constant irritability. It can feel physical, like you're tired all the time, or have these mysterious aches and pains. Or it might be what experts call anhedonia, which is just a fancy word for losing interest in things you used to absolutely love. It really can touch every single part of a person's life. And this right here, this slide is huge for understanding the difference. Look, we all feel sad. It's a totally normal reaction to life's bumps in the road. But clinical depression, that's a different beast entirely. Sadness comes and goes, and you can still find moments of joy. But with depression, that low mood is a constant companion for weeks on end, and it often brings this heavy feeling of worthlessness that just isn't there with everyday sadness. Now, this is really interesting. Symptoms can also look different depending on who you are. Research shows that men sometimes express depression through anger or maybe even reckless behavior. On the other hand, women might experience more intense feelings of guilt or big changes in their sleeping and eating habits. Knowing these differences is just so key to making sure everyone gets the support they need. And if any of this is resonating with you, I really want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone, not even close. The World Health Organization estimates that about 5.7% of adults around the world are living with depression. It's a shared human experience. So, that leads us to the big question, right? What actually causes depression? Well, the truth is, it's not simple. It's not just one thing. Think of it more like a complex puzzle with a lot of different pieces that have to fit together. Research points to a combination of things. Your genetics can play a part for sure, so can your biology, the actual chemistry in your brain, and of course, life experiences like trauma or major stress can be a huge trigger. Even other medical conditions can play a role. It all just confirms that this is a legitimate health issue, not a personal failing. Okay, now for what I think is the most important part of our conversation, the pathways to recovery. And the message here is one of pure hope. Depression is treatable, and there is effective help out there. So what does that treatment actually look like? Well, there's no single magic bullet because everyone's journey is different, but there are several powerful, evidence-based approaches that have helped millions and millions of people feel better. Generally, treatment rests on three main pillars. You've got psychotherapy, or talk therapy. Then there's medication, like antidepressants, which can help get your brain chemistry back in balance. And finally, there are lifestyle changes and self-care. And you know what? Very often, the best results come from combining these approaches. Let's just zoom in on psychotherapy for a second. There are a bunch of different kinds, but here are a few really common ones. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, helps you recognize and change those negative thought cycles. Interpersonal therapy, or IPT, zooms in on your relationships. And DBT gives you practical skills to handle tough emotions. The goal of all of them? To give you more tools for your mental toolbox. Which brings us to our final section, finding that hope and taking the very first step. Recovery really begins with that one decision to reach out, and there are so many resources out there ready to support you when you do. Self-care plays such a massive role in all of this, and we're not talking about huge, overwhelming changes. Small, consistent things can make a world of difference, like just getting out for a short walk can boost your mood.
Fighting that urge to isolate and reaching out to people you trust is huge. And even gently pushing yourself to do things you used to enjoy, that can help wake up your brain's pleasure centers again. And this is non-negotiable. This is critically important. If you or anyone you know is in a crisis, help is there for you right now. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, it's confidential, and it's available 24/7. Please do not hesitate to make that call or send that text.
Let's end with this powerful message of hope. I just want this to really sink in. No matter how long you've been struggling, no matter how dark it feels, recovery is possible. Things can and do get better. So I'll leave you with this question. This isn't about fixing everything all at once. It's about finding one small, manageable thing you can do for yourself today. Maybe it's a 5-minute walk outside, maybe it's texting a friend, or maybe it's just taking a deep breath and acknowledging how you feel without judgment. What will your one step be? Thank you so much for joining me.